Hey everyone, guess what? We do not have ugly swag. We have spaced out radio gear that you're going to want to wear. Why? Because no one wants to wear ugly clothing. So head on over to spacedoutradio.com and go shopping today. You'll be glad you did. And it's a great way to support our show. Once you get your gear, send us a picture of you rocking out in your SOR swag. spacedoutradio.com, shop there today, and make yourself look good.
I'm not a good pretender, I never could live a lie. I said too much and let it get the best of me until it took the rest of me. I thought it was worth the fight, to fight for what's right, to right all the wrongs, to sing in our songs, to know we belong. No one understands, they don't have the desire, got the hands in the fire, and I do it again. We give it all we can, all we have is desire, got the hands in the fire, we burn ourselves and never say, never say, never say, never again. I never say, never say, never say, never again. I learned more from one enemy than from 1,000 friends. That heaven takes care of the fools and scoundrels in the end. You learn more from one lie than from
Greetings,
1,000
space travelers. Welcome home. You've just tuned your dial to Spaced Out Radio, the only place where you can own the night. I'm your host, Mr. Rob G, and as always, we'll be coming to you on a terrestrial affiliates across North America, digitally and TalkStream Live, KPNL, and Odyssey Radio. Remember, you can access our archives for free, completely free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. And while you're there, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Spaced Out Radio and at Spaced Out Radio Show. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where the options are endless. You can stay up to date with the SOR Newswire, get some official Spaced Out swag, plus rock out to some Bumblefoot and oh so much more. Thanks for joining us here tonight on this Saturday, this fantastic after hours. We're going to have a great time. We have our guest Lily Nova Starseed who will be joining us today. And in hour number 3, we'll be joined by Lee and Jax live from Mount Adams, Washington. They have some really good stuff. That's what I'm hearing. So we'll be able to get with them in hour number 3. It's going to be a fantastic show. Make sure you don't go anywhere. Make sure you stay right here, Spaced Out Radio After Hours. Let's hop in the chat real quick and see who has come on in. Let me go ahead and get back in the way back on the chat here, and it appears that Dogface has come in with the silver, saying Rob MF and G, let's go. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. Dogface, thanks for coming on in. We got Race Fan, looks like, with the silver, saying good evening, Rob. Good evening, Race Fan. Thanks for coming in. And Dogface already getting started with the super chat. That's what I'm talking about. Appreciate you, Dogface, for your support of Spaced Out Radio. We do appreciate you coming on in and supporting the show. Thank you. Then we got Penny coming on in saying good evening, everyone, with the bronze. Thanks so much for coming in, Penny. We do appreciate you showing up tonight. Let me go ahead and get down the list here pretty quick because we got to jump into our SOR Weekly Review. Roger Murray has stepped in saying June 21st, 1947, Maury, probably, right? Maury Island UFO incident, 6 donut-shaped objects, Washington State, rain, drowned, lava, number of people 4 days before Kenneth Arnold's UFO sighting in Mount Rainier, June 24th, 1947. That's what I'm talking about, Roger Murray, always coming in and educating us with a little bit of this UFO history. We do appreciate you, Roger Murray. Thanks for coming on in. Moving down the list here, who else do we have? Eternity Eternal saying hi, Rob G. Hi, Eternity Eternal. Thanks for coming on in. Appreciate you showing up. We got Melvin from Mars saying hello, SOR fam. Good evening to you all. Good evening, Melvin from Mars. Thank you so much for showing up here tonight. We do appreciate you showing up. Thanks for coming on in. Who else do we have here? We got Amanda Carroll with the cheesy emoji. I do like it. Thanks for coming on in, Amanda Carroll. Thanks for showing up tonight for Spaced Out Radio After Hours. We got Reverend Cosmic Joe Chronicles saying, what's up, Rob G? Spaced Out Radio is the place to be, and you're absolutely correct, Reverend Cosmic Joe Chronicles. It definitely is the place to be, and I'm glad that you're here supporting us tonight. Thanks for showing on up. Who else do we have here? We got Jennifer with the looky eyes, lurking eyes. Do like that. Thanks for coming on in, Jennifer. Thanks for showing up tonight. We got Stargazer, ground control to SOR. Can we get a copy? Copy that, Stargazer. We are in effect. We are here, and we are ready to go. Thanks for coming on in. Let's see. Where are we at here? We got a low. No, we got. Did I say dog? I'm going to say Dogface again, saying Lily Nova, respect my friend. Going to be a great show. Yeah, you know that, Dogface. You already know. We got Aloha Dave 13 saying Buenas noches a todo de Mexico. Good evening to everyone from Mexico. Thanks for keeping us bilingual. Aloha Dave. You know we love that. And we do appreciate you coming in to support us tonight. Who else do we have here? Let's move down the list here. JSCO77 saying, hiya, folks. Hiya, JSCO77. Thanks for coming on in. Thanks for showing up here to the show tonight. We do appreciate you. Corey, no, you the man. Thanks for coming on in, Corey. We appreciate you showing up at the Spaced Out Radio After Hours. We do. Yep, Phineas Coathanger in the building saying, what's up, Rob G? Coming in from Twitch, not Twitch, X. God, Twitter, I meant to say, right? X, Phineas Coathanger, thanks for coming on in. We do appreciate you showing up. Thanks for coming into the show tonight. Who else do we have here? Jessica S. Thank you so much for coming on in, Jessica S. We do appreciate you showing up to the show tonight. We're going to get into some really good stuff. We got Jimmy Gonzalez with just popcorn emojis all the way across. I like that. Get your popcorn. That's a good idea, Jimmy Gonzalez. Get your popcorn. Jedi Miller, Dave Scott, question mark? No, Rob G, exclamation point. Dave Scott is Monday through Friday, Spaced Out Radio. You can catch him 9 p.m. Pacific until midnight. And then you get the after hours, Saturday and Sunday right here with me, Mr. Rob G, 8 p.m. Pacific until 11. And on Sundays, you get from 7 to 8, Jessica Jones, Cryptid Huntress. So, Jedi Miller, 7 days a week. Something is always going down right here on Spaced Out Radio. And I'm glad that you decided to come on in and join us tonight. We do appreciate you. I think that's pretty. Oh, nope. Carl Bittner. Got to get Carl Bittner. Hiya, Rob, and all you Spacey After Hours Spaced Out peeps. Hey, Carl Bittner, thanks for coming in and supporting the show tonight. We do appreciate you. Should be definitely a good one. Like I said, we have Lily Nova coming on in, and it should be really, really good. We got, like I said, Jax and Lee in the hour number 3. Jimmy Gonzalez, Rob G, your videos are awesome. I appreciate it. I do have a channel. Thanks for that, Jimmy Gonzalez. I can tell everybody I do have a channel. I have a personal channel. It's the Social Dig. It's my experience with the phenomena. And yeah, we do have some decent stuff over there. I must say, I would appreciate if you guys consider going over to subscribe and check me out over there. Definitely some good stuff. Brown Dwarf, thanks for coming on in. We do appreciate you showing up tonight. Yeah, no, Jedi Miller, it's all good. We got 3 different hosts here, and actually it'll be 4 because Jackson Lee are starting their new show, I believe, next Friday. So you'll have 4 different shows going on under this one channel. So just, as Dave says, a plethora of options for you to check out for sure. And I do appreciate you throwing that in the chat. You guys can go right there to youtube.com/@MrRobG. Fantastic content over there. Really deep conversations too. I would love to see you over there. Consider going on over and hitting that subscribe. All right, getting into it. you know what time it is. We're going to go ahead and get ready to hop in to the SOR time machine. Go back and check the week that was Spaced Out Radio. So in case you missed anything, you guys get to go back, see what happened this week as I go ahead and get you guys ready to go ahead and check this out. And I will be back with our guest in just a moment. Check it out.
What is the end game of ufology, in your opinion? Because
Not
we're
in our
seeing,
lifetime.
well, the reason why I asked such a difficult question, and it sounds so based, but it's very baseless. We're seeing potentially another type of age. Okay, we've had the computer age, late in the last 30 years,
Yeah.
but we could be seeing an ET technology type of age coming up with us here, and we're seeing a lot of companies out there, a lot of groups out there, a lot of military and defense companies looking for disclosure for dollars.
Yep.
What's, in your opinion, when you look at this, what's the end? Is it about aliens anymore?
You know what? No, there's definitely charlatans in this field. Try not to mention, but I mean, you guys already know who the heck I'm talking about. There's one particular big charlatan that is the end all be all Mr. Disclosure. But again, there is no such thing as a messiah of disclosure. It's not going to happen. This has got to be a global endeavor. The problem is, I think it needs to be, every country needs to wake up and realize this has nothing to do about your boundaries, your borders, or your resources. This has to do with everybody globally as a whole. I always find that funny that, in movies, Hollywood movies, America always survives everything. Like in The Day After Tomorrow, America survived, but Canada didn't. I'm like, are you kidding me? Canada would be skating circles around the United States. Like, we got igloos and hockey, and like we do fine in frozen temperatures, but it's not going to play out that way. If there's an alien takeover the planet, it's not like they're just going to leave the United States alone and go, okay, no, these guys, don't mess with these guys. That's not going to happen. And if they are in our waters, just think about how big the oceans are. Imagine if they have a base down there that's bigger than most countries. You know what I mean? Like, it could be the size of Germany. We don't know how big these operations are there or behind the moon. But we're becoming alert. We're becoming more aware of their presence. I don't think they're new. I think they've been here for a long time. We're just catching up. We're just catching on. And if anything, we know for a fact, based on our history, that when we catch on to something, it usually involves bloodshed, throwing people under the bus, burning people at the stake. When Galileo said, hey, I think we're not the center of the universe, wow, he was imprisoned right away. People don't accept change, especially it changes their worldview of how things work.
We literally need to realize we are not in a disclosure movement. We are in a confirmation of the phenomena movement. You've been quite in agreement with that. Many others over the years have kind of moved towards that level of understanding about it. And we're talking people who are staunch about the UFO disclosure coming from the US government. Well, Richard Dolan, famed researcher, did a podcast the other day acting like it was a brand new subject on how the UFO world has changed from UFO disclosure to UAP transparency. Now, you know how I feel about the term UAP. Hate it. Absolutely hate it. Refuse to use it, even though it slips out of my mouth sometimes. Just disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. But how did we go from UFO disclosure to UAP transparency in your mind?
I think somebody decided disclosure is the wrong word, or that disclosure was asking for too much. And so the lingo changed. And transparency gives more wiggle room, I think. Just like, I don't know if it's to get rid of the stigma or the ridicule, like people say. Like, I should say, like people say, it was Hillary Clinton on Jimmy Kimmel And she was like, well, Jimmy, they're called UAP now. And she looked all wild when she said it. She was like, yeah, she did the Sullivan nod. That's like a subliminal, like, yes, you're going to adopt this new phrase and terminology. That was to make it more accessible, but it was also called unidentified aerial phenomenon then. So we see this shift in lingo, and we have to question the intent. Is it to modernize it? Is it to drop the stigma? Is it to make it more accessible? Everything we just ticked through. Is it a game?
Kevin, everybody has a favorite ghost story, whether it made you laugh or whether it made you crap your pants. What's yours?
Oh man. Looking back through the years, it's kind of hard to nail one down. I mean, we've had so many memorable moments just in the paranormal, and just one of the things I like about investigating too is just getting the group together and traveling. Getting everybody together, going places, piling in a vehicle. Especially on the show, putting up with Mustafa on the road for 5 weeks. But man, there's so many fun experiences, and getting to experience things with friends.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of memorable moments. We've had fun times, where you'll have a newbie come on, you hide in a corner and scare them and watch them kind of jump and take off running out of the house and stuff like that. Then we've had our creepy moments where, stuff happens, stuff will fall off walls or whatever and just scare the crap out of you. But man, as of a favorite, it's kind of hard to narrow one down. Some of my most memorable, I remember we were doing a house at one time back many years ago, and sitting on, it was a hardwood floor, but I was sitting on a big round carpet that they had on the floor, and I had my, I had my arms behind me, kind of laying back, and we heard clear as day footsteps. And when we heard the footsteps, I could feel the vibration in my arms. I was like, okay, cool. So one of the girls on the couch got up to go look and see if anybody was in the hallway. And she came back and I was like, will you walk around again a little bit? So she did. And the only time I could feel the vibration of her walking was when she walked on the rug that I was sitting on. Which was wild because I actually felt the vibration when we heard the footsteps. But she walked all around the floor and I never felt it until she walked on the rug.
Dang. That would be creepy.
It was a decent sized rug. It was probably like a 4 foot by 8 foot rug or something like that. It was decent size. that was a pretty wild one.
How about like dark experiences? Like, I know we do this for documentation, evidence, and to progress our field. Like, I know Brandon is a big time on wanting to progress the field.
Right.
But there's always a case that'll stick with you, even like off the TV stuff, just like even like from private investigations that like I can think of 3 off the top of my head for me. Is there one that sticks out for you that is kind of like a reminder for you of how serious things can get?
So in season 2, we do a place, and I didn't know it in the moment, but I had apparently changed, like my whole demeanor had changed during the investigation. It started when myself and Brandon were in a room investigating, and we both got affected.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess it kind of stuck with me the rest of the night enough to where they pulled me off to the side to make sure that I was okay to move forward.
Wow.
Apparently one of them looked at me and I didn't even look like myself. And it kind of freaked him out a little bit, but that one's kind of wild. Another one that really kind of is where I think gets a little personal is when you're at a place and you actually pick up an EVP, get your name called out.
Yes.
That happened to me at Yuma Prison in Arizona.
And now this guy's on the woo train. He's on the woo train. And right before the break, if you missed it, we were talking about an incredible Sasquatch sighting or encounter, pardon me, out at Flight 21, which is a crash site up here in central British Columbia that happened in 1965. 52 people lost their lives that day when a bomb blew up a DC-6 plane. And now that area in the middle of the forest where no people roam, we believe the ghosts and their bodyguards, the Sasquatch, are still there. So going back to 2020, Mark, we teased about a nickel.
Yeah.
We decided that we were going to set up a gifting site in that area in the backwoods because we found the trail that Sasquatch had snuck up on Merle back in 2018. Do you remember what happened when we first walked back there? The portal or whatever it was where we all got sick?
Yeah. It was actually, if I remember rightly, it's only about 30 or 40 feet away from the tree we set up as a gifting site. But yeah, it was a nauseating feeling in the stomach. And at that time I was still fairly new to all the paranormal and Sasquatch, and I can't explain it to you. And I'm the type of guy that, I gotta have that proof. And there's definitely, I had that proof because I don't get sick in the bush. I've never had that feeling where your stomach all of a sudden is just like you want to just hurl. And that's what it was. And I think I actually almost got sick. I know Katie was very concerned, my daughter, and she was, Dad, are you okay? And I was just like, yeah, no, it's fine. And then I think we went on another 10 feet and I was fine.
Yeah. I had a real bad headache in that area. And then our other friend, Mike, was not doing too well either. And, Leon's Leon. He's like, oh, whatever, let's just have a good experience. But we set up a gifting site by this massive old growth tree that's probably 125 feet in height, just gorgeous, thick Douglas fir tree. We set up a gifting site there. We left a couple of shiny rocks. We left a couple of toys. We left a one of those dollar store basketballs that's made for a child's hand into the mystery of the Dyatlov Pass from the 1950s, where a bunch of kids, college students, were going to go ski in the backwoods of the Ural Mountains. They all died. And to this day, it's a big mystery. Teddy Hadiiska is one of the leading researchers in the world on this subject. Teddy, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for inviting me for the fourth time, I believe. Not that I'm counting everything.
I'm just happy you keep saying yes to come on.
I will always say yes to you then.
I love it. I love you.
Well, I was just awarded by the Russians too. I'm not just the conduit of information in English. I'm coming from Moscow right now, and I was awarded the Russian Detective 2024 for the book in the category of documentary detective, which means that our book is not a fiction. And I got the prize. So that means that it's not just, I'm not just the most knowledgeable person who speaks English. I mean, not that this language is my native, but that I can explain things in English. I'm also quite knowledgeable about the information period. And the book that you mentioned, 1079, I will explain the title because it's part of the case files. It's translated from Russian in English, Spanish in German, and in all languages, the title is 1079, the numbers. So why 1079? I'll get to the title of this interview, Legends of the Dyatlov Pass. When people talk about it, because it's difficult to pronounce Dyatlov, which by the way means woodpecker. So if you see translation by Google, you will see a lot of woodpecker. Dyatlov, they usually call the incident Death Mountain, and this is also the name of the book, of books, of movies, of everything. So they call it Death Mountain. Why?
Here's the weird part for me in all of this. I'm not a part of the Hellier team. I do not speak with Greg and Dana Newkirk or anybody from the show. I mean, a couple of us follow each other, but that's about it.
Right.
Okay. I haven't spoken to them in 5-6 years, if not longer. And now, all of a sudden, out of the blue, this Terry R. wrist thing hits my email.
Right.
And I don't really understand what this has to do with me, let alone anybody else.
Okay. Well, so based on what you said, the contents of the email are, it sounds like there's some kind of article that was written by Wrist. That's never been seen. Nobody knows anything about this guy. The only thing that we know about Wrist is the 2 interviews in the back of Alan's books, talking to Alan, the emails that were sent to the Newkirks, and the 2 people that they interviewed that claimed that they had met Wrist. That's the sum total of everything that is known about Terry Wrist. Period. There's no more. You can't search for him. You can't find him. You can't talk to him. I mean, the only way Terry Wrist talks to anybody is if Terry Wrist chooses to email you or chooses to call you or show up at your house or whatever way he wants to talk to you. It has to be done by Wrist himself. So the fact that you have an article that was written by Terry Wrist, that is something that's never been seen before. That it doesn't exist. There's no reference aside from the interviews that Alan did. Those are the only written things about Terry Wrist that exist. There's nothing written
Right.
by Terry Wrist. So obviously somebody trusts you and thinks that you have the journalistic integrity to figure out what
Well,
this
I
is about.
appreciate you saying that. I do. I
They
appreciate you.
said it. I believe it too, but they said it. I mean, they handed it to you because they're a fan and they didn't know what to do with it. Because what do you do with it? Right? You like Hellier, you like SOR. Maybe you're at a garage sale and you find a book or whatever, or newspaper or whatever, and you're looking through it. It's 10 cents and you're looking through it, right? And there's an article by Terry Wrist, and you go, well, I know who that is. That's the guy from Hellier. Okay, well, what do you do with it?
I don't know. And this is kind of what I'm wondering about. Like, what do I do with this? Should I get a hold of Greg and Dana Newkirk? Are they even going to pay attention because they're on their own journey? I don't know. There's a lot of things I don't know what to do right now.
All right. That was the SOR Weekly Review. Another week in Spaced Out Radio, another awesome week. So remember, if you missed any of that, any of those episodes, you can go right on over right here, youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio, jump into our archives, and you'll be able to take advantage of everything that you just saw there and a whole lot more. Now, with that being said, we're going to go ahead and jump on into the show as we go ahead and get ready to bring in our guest for the night. As you already saw on the thumbnail, we got Lily Nova Starseed, and she is a cosmic channeler, astrophotographer, contactee, amongst other things, author as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me go ahead and bring her on in. We have Lily Nova Starseed. Hi, Lily Nova. How are you?
Good. Thanks for having me. It's good to be here.
Glad to have you. Actually, we ran an SOR archive show about a month ago, I want to say, and it happened to feature Lily Nova. So the audience reacted to that, and they were like, "Oh, we want more of her." And I'm like, "Okay." And then you happened to pop in the chat, and I'm like, "Hey, let's do this." And then the rest is history. So I do appreciate you coming on in. I do want to get into some stuff. All interviews start with, especially first time around, how did you get started? Have you had any experiences as being young, and kind of what led you into having this popular YouTube channel and being able to have these experiences? What led you into this?
Yeah. So my journey it started pretty recent, back in 2020. I started off as I'm actually a nutritionist. I have a dietetics degree and I was teaching nutrition and cooking classes. But during the pandemic lockdowns, I really got into space photography and I started spending all of my time out under the stars, photographing the Milky Way and the moon and deep space objects and all of that. And then I ended up quitting my job because of some things that happened and really just um, fully kind of surrendered myself to the stars and was spending all of my time out there. I fell in love with it. And then a couple months into that, I had my first very, very close UFO experience, very, very close. And then suddenly UFOs literally just started bombarding me. And me out there with my camera, well, it was paradigm shifting after the first one. So the first experience that happened, it was in the middle of the night. It was almost 2:00 in the morning, and I went outside for some fresh air before bed. And I went outside, stepped on my front porch, and I saw this hovering light over the neighborhood. And I started investigating it, and I was like, oh my gosh, I think that might be a UFO. It didn't have any blinking lights. It wasn't a plane. It wasn't a planet. It was literally just a light hovering. It was a big light. And so I started recording it. And then an orange light appeared at the end of my street that drew my attention. And I looked over to it, and then it seemed like time stood still, and it became very, very eerie. And I started hearing rustling of wind, like the wind was rustling because it was like dead silent. And I looked back over, and a second craft had appeared, a large diamond shaped craft with red and blue green lights going across it. And it went up, down, side to side, seeming to display to me, yes, we are real and we are not normal. Like, this is not a normal craft. So it did some maneuvers that nothing else could do. And this craft was literally like, it wasn't way up in the sky. It was, I was just kind of bending my neck like that, looking up at it. And it was probably about 5 houses down. And then after it went side to side and up, down, it started coming straight for me. And then it vanished above my head. So that was my first experience. And it was very obvious that they were kind of like singling me out, and they knew that I was standing there watching them. And then after that, UFOs just started popping up everywhere, and I began documenting them with my camera. So that's how I got into it. I basically turned into kind of an investigator, and just wanted to know, what are these craft, who's driving them, and holy crap, UFOs and aliens are real and they are here. Like, that's the craziest, most exciting thing that we've ever heard of.
You're absolutely right. And because I know how I felt when I had my first sight, my first sight. I had 2 so far, but I know how that changes you. Prior to this sighting, were you skeptical, or did you think that things were out there, or what was your feeling on that?
So I wasn't like into the UFO community or anything, but I've always kind of intuitively known that there's more out there. I wasn't sure what was going on out there, but I've always felt drawn to space, and I was always open to the possibility of it. So that I had an open mind, essentially.
Yeah, and that's kind of what it takes. I have the same story pretty much. With you being so new to this, because technically I'm new to this as well. My sighting it hasn't even been 2 years since my first sighting. So I'm new to this too. So I can kind of align with you there. What being that you were enlightened and kind of opened up so quickly, like when you said, okay, this is what I'm going to do, what is your long-term goal? Like, what do you hope to achieve by hosting a channel, running a page? What do you hope to achieve, long-term goal?
Yeah. Well, disclosure for humanity. So humanity, what I learned through these contact experiences, because it started off with UFOs and documenting evidence of them, and they seemed to be popping up in front of my camera, but then a communication developed. And then I got to communicate with these beings, and I got to see who these beings were. And they showed me a lot of things, and they taught me a lot of things rapidly. And like I said, I had just quit my job. So I was I'm a hard worker. I've never gone without a job, but at this time I just felt drawn to, like, something was keeping me from like going to find another job. I just had to pursue this. It was a very, very strong feeling. And also, like, whenever aliens contact you and they want to like communicate and connect with you, like, that's number one priority, because it's just so crazy, and your life can change. Your life changes literally overnight in an instant whenever you have these experiences, as I'm sure you know from your UFO sightings that you've had. It just changes you immediately. So I learned that that the Earth's going through a great shift right now, and that there's a lot more to our history that we are not aware of. And there's a lot more to who we are as a species that we are not aware of. So my long-term goal really is helping others who are having these experiences, helping them to make sense of these experiences. I do sessions for people where I can kind of almost like remote view and make contact with the beings that are contacting them, or see kind of like the bigger picture. So I help people understand and find answers for their experiences in that way. But also to help bring disclosure. We're going to be seeing a lot of really big changes over the next few years, and I get a really big feeling about 2025 too. A lot of disclosure, like humanity's about to wake up. So that's really my goal, is to help kind of be at the forefront of this, along with you and many others who are starting to wake up and starting to have these experiences, to help bring the truth to people, and helping people discover who we truly are in our place in the cosmos, and that we really are not alone.
Yeah,
Kind of
that's an awesome answer too, and I totally feel you, because this is what my perspective of it is, and why I asked you that is because I didn't intend on doing what I'm doing today, right? I didn't intend on going to host a show, but it was essentially a calling, and I think that's kind of like what you mentioned when you talked about leaving that job, leaving that security. Like someone touched you and said that you have something else that you should be doing, or something you're supposed to be doing, and then you get led into this position to help enlighten others. And I've experienced the same thing, so I know exactly what you're going through and what you're feeling, especially making a tough decision like that, because society has you locked in to this machine, essentially, where you work every day, and to break away from that and kind of start enlightening yourself and enlightening others, it goes against the grain, you know what I mean? And it's just a beautiful thing. So I know exactly what you're going through there. I looked into some of the things that you talk about, and because I am new to this, technically, I mean, I've had a lot of conversations about this, but you talk about star seeds, star beings, star family, things of that nature. Could you describe what that means and what it means to you?
Yeah. Yeah. So my experiences with these beings and with these UFOs, I didn't realize until about 6 months in, um, after I got to actually see these beings, and a communication was starting to develop. Because before, it was, I was going out and I was already starting to communicate with them. Like, I would see these UFOs and then I would talk to them, and then kind of weird things that would happen that was like answering my questions and like leading me and guiding me down this totally new path. Um, but I wondered, like, why are they singling me out? Why are they appearing to me? And now, and why now also? And I found out about 6 months in that they were actually my star family, and that these beings, they told me that they had known me for a really long time, and I felt a really close connection with them. Like, I would get super emotional because I just felt like a love, a very, very strong bond and connection with them. And uh, so then I discovered star seeds and what a star seed was. So a star seed is essentially a soul who does not originate from Earth. They have incarnated in other star systems, on other planets, even other galaxies. And there's kind of this whole starseed envoy program essentially where, you know, the Earth it was in trouble. And some of these beings, partly some of my star family, saw that the trajectory of humanity was going down a dark path, and they live by a law in the universe. It has a law of free will, where you can't intervene with free will. So some of these more advanced races, because there's all sorts of galactic councils, the universe is teeming with life. There's many races out there, very advanced races. So they have this rule of non-interference where they can't interfere, but there are some things that they can do, but they can't really interfere too much with the development of a developing race. So in order to help put the Earth on a more positive trajectory, some of these more advanced souls or old souls volunteered to incarnate on Earth as human to help awaken at a certain time and help share like topics like these, and bring in like healing and awareness and wisdom and all of that, to help usher in kind of like this new leap in humanity's evolution. So that's essentially what a starseed is. It's pretty mind-boggling, and at first it was hard for me to believe, but then it really makes sense. And I'm sure, like you and probably like many others who are in the audience right now, you may have grown up feeling kind of like the black sheep. You may have thought differently than others. You may be very empathetic or be very sensitive to energies. And some are very psychic from birth. Some are more intuition, just kind of knowing things without knowing why you know them is also a psychic ability. A lot of starseeds have that. But once you start to kind of reflect on your life, it starts to really make sense. why some people, you know, felt like they never belong on Earth, or like Earth it didn't feel like home. They didn't feel like they fit in with anybody. That doesn't necessarily have to be the case with starseeds, but oftentimes that is the case. That's how they feel.
Yeah. Now that you say that, you describe it that way. Yeah. I know. I've had times where I think the answer is so simple, and I look around and no one else understands. Like, you don't see this. Like, it's easy. It's right here. It's in your face, and a lot of people don't get it. And it's like, these are smart people, and I always wonder why they don't connect with things like that. And that actually would probably explain it right there. So when you say, so when a star seed, so I believe I might be one. Then that's very possible. What is the connection, and how if you identify as one, how do you connect with the source, I guess, race or species? How do you connect with the species?
Yeah, that's a great question. So that's also a lot of what I teach on my YouTube channel, and I have workshops and stuff like that on my website. And somebody was asking what my YouTube channel is. It's Lily Nova Starseed is my YouTube channel. So I do a lot of like guided meditations and activations. They're under my live tab, or if you look through my different playlists, where some of them I help people connect with specific races. But so there are some popular ET races that are interacting and helping humanity, and who a lot of starseeds have connections with. A big one being the Pleiadians, who look like the Nordic beings. They've got like the blonde hair and blue eyes. They look very, very human. We actually have some of their genetics and some of their DNA. We have a lot of these extraterrestrials DNA. That's why we're a really special race, because we're like these big mutts. So that's part of why we're seeing all of these UFOs and all of this alien contact is happening, because we're literally related to them, as well as having the starseed envoys. But so the Pleiadians are really popular. The Arcturians from the star Arcturus, Lyrans from the Lyra constellation, Sirians from the star Sirius are some of the big major popular ones that I see a lot of people having connections with. So if you wanted to connect with a specific race, you could set the intention and ask, set that intention. You could look up, meditations. Meditation is a great way to do it, or stargazing, spending time out in nature, and set that intention out there, because these beings are telepathic and we are all connected through consciousness. So it doesn't matter if they are outside in the solar system or even maybe even in another galaxy. You can telepathically and psychically connect to these other races no matter where they are. Consciousness is amazing. And that's actually what I was studying right before I started having these UFO experiences. And I think that helped me to kind of understand and have more of an open mind. So studying the science of consciousness is very, very helpful. And that's how a lot of this works. So it can happen instantly, and you kind of send out that notification. Maybe they get it kind of like a text message in their mind, like ding, and they get notified. And you could ask them to show you a sign or ask them to appear in a craft, or you can do a meditation. And often through meditation, you can have some very profound experiences. So that's a lot of what I do now is I do guided meditations and activations to help connect people to these beings and even like spiritual guides and things like that. And people have really profound experiences through it. So meditation is fantastic. And developing your psychic senses, because everybody's psychic.
Yeah.
A lot of these gifts are just dormant. They're kind of like turned off, but it's like intuition and psychic abilities are like a muscle. As you practice and work on it, it gets stronger and stronger, and you will be absolutely mind blown at what you can do and perceive. And I know Jessica Jones is one of the hosts on here, isn't she?
Yes.
Yeah. And she's a remote viewer. I met her at the Rebels of Disclosure conference back in May. Or no, wait, she wasn't at that one. She was at the one before last year, the previous year. She's fantastic, and she does a lot of remote viewing and things like that.
Yep.
So, these psychic abilities and things that we can achieve through consciousness are amazing.
Yeah, Jessica Jones is definitely awesome. And I like the way you described that, the text message, the receiving the notification. That just makes so much sense right there. So is that really when you're getting into, is that technically channeling at that point, or is that different?
So there's different types of channeling that could kind of be channeling. So there are channeling would be, and a lot of people are channeling every day, even like normal people are channeling every day without even realizing it, where they're receiving information from higher realms or outside, and they are like acting on that or sharing that. Channeling, like if you get in a flow state where you're just totally in the zone, like you are channeling, like art, painting,
Yeah.
writing books, writing scripts for movies. So I believe that's part of why a lot of these movies and TV shows have a lot of truth in them, because they're actually channeling this information, like Star Wars or Star Trek, maybe without even realizing it. So you can channel in that way, where you're kind of receiving information or wisdom or messages or ideas and conveying that. Sometimes you may not even realize it. Like for me, since I've developed, that ability, I can, like for my sessions, for example, I can reach out to make contact or get information from what's known as the Akashic records, which is like this quantum records of each person's like soul in the universe. So I receive information through that, and I'll see it often as visions, and it kind of comes with like a download of a whole understanding, with like a picture, and then it has a whole understanding. I don't even need to hear words. It just comes with this whole like zip file of information, and then I relay that to people. So that's a form of channeling. So yeah, that can be channeling. Some people do channeling, like if you know Bashar, where like an entity comes into the body and kind of speaks through the person. That's another form of channeling too. And yeah, so hopefully that answers the question.
It does. And I really like the way you describe these things. It just makes a lot of sense the way that you describe these. And you also are into a term I'm not familiar with, which is DNA activation. Could you explain that?
Yeah. So what these ETs, as a communication developed with them, what they started showing me was our DNA. And I started seeing this a ton, even like before our communication really developed. They started showing me, this sounds kind of weird, but I actually, like, I've got pictures of it, videos of it, but they started manipulating the clouds and making like DNA shaped clouds. And like they were trying to tell me something. before my psychic abilities were my abilities in often what happens with people who have UFO experiences or contact experiences, it opens up their psychic abilities. So mine were beginning to develop very rapidly. But they started showing me all of this DNA. And then as a communication developed with them, I learned more of why that is. And they told me that our DNA is very, very special. And we have at least 22 different ET genetics contributed to our DNA. And most of our DNA right now is dormant, like it's shut off. So scientists will say around 95% of our DNA is junk DNA.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it doesn't appear to be serving a purpose. It doesn't appear to be doing anything. So that'd be like, we're only like as humans, just like with our brains, we're only functioning off of about 5% of our brain and 5% of our DNA potential, which is insane.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's insane. So DNA activation and what the ETs taught me was that we can activate this DNA and with it, as we activate this DNA, we begin to develop more of our extrasensory perception, and we can even develop like healing abilities, remote viewing abilities, and yeah, just amazing things can happen as you activate your DNA, and that's where we're heading as a species. As we're developing and as the consciousness is raising, we're all activating our DNA. And yeah, we're basically going to be like superhumans before it's all said and done, which is cool.
That is funny you say that, because I've been saying that lately a lot, and that's what I believe. Like we will be able to unlock these abilities that would make it seem like superhuman abilities, like a superpower, essentially. So it sounds like that would activating DNA is something that happens during the enlightenment process, as you unlock these other abilities. Okay, I like that. I'm aligned with that. What do you get when you speak to or have contact with ET? What is the general message that is given?
So a big part of it was the DNA activation. So that's a big part of like what I teach, and I'm very, very passionate about the DNA activation because I've experienced crazy, amazing things from focusing on activating my DNA. Amazing things. Like I wasn't able to see visions before this. I didn't have any psychic abilities. I never had any crazy experiences growing up. This just started happening. So I really like to, and what the ETs really want me to focus on is helping people to activate this within themselves and kind of develop themselves. So it's very much about like personal development and discovering and remembering who you are and tapping into your potential. I'm all about unlocking your potential. I've always been about that, but now it makes sense since the ET contact why I've always been passionate about personal development, because that's part of my mission. And so I like to help people with that, and that's a big part of what the ETs want me to do. Some of the other messages, goodness, there's so many. There's so many. A lot of it has to.
What would be what's the ET's end goal for us if they've ever communicated that?
Yeah. So eventually we will be a spacefaring, what's the word? Space. Yeah. Spacefaring. Okay. Spacefaring species where we will be able to join the galactic community in the stars. So there's like these different councils and galactic communities that already exist. So we would be able to basically rejoin our star brothers and sisters and work with them. But also there's a lot of corruption on the planet, and yeah. So that's part of why we are here and what we're doing, as well as what the ETs who are contacting us and the UFOs that are showing up to help bring disclosure. And we need to really clear up the corruption. There's so much corruption with the health field, the medical field, big pharma, the food industry, the politics, the judicial system, the school system, education system. There's so much corruption that needs to be removed. That's really hindering us as a species, and it's a big system of control that's just really hindering us. So that's another big part of it. We have to become aware of these messed up things that have been going on our planet for a very long time, and then we have to correct it. And they want to be there to help guide us, putting in these new systems in place that will bring peace and abundance. We have unlimited resources on Earth. Nobody should be living in poverty. Nobody should be going without water or food. Like, it's insane.
Lily, you're on the right path, and that's exactly you're reading my mind right now. And I don't think they want us even out there in our current state, but we'll go ahead and we're going to go ahead and take a pause for the cause real quick and take our first break of the night as we get ready to come back with Lily Nova Starseed and get into some more of this great conversation. You guys kick back and we will be right back.
Conversations that move the needle.
Conversations that move the needle.
You're listening to After Hours with Mr. Rob G on the only place where you can own the night. Spaced Out Radio.
Spaced Out Radio.
You've tuned your dial to the right frequency.
Yes. We are back. We are back. Welcome back to Spaced Out Radio after hour number 2 with me, your host, Mr. Rob G. As we go ahead and get ready to jump into our conversation, let me stop real quick and talk to all the space travelers out there. You guys are already space travelers. Take the extra step and join the club. That's right. You can join our Spaced Out Radio Space Travelers Club for as little as $5 buckaroonies a month. By joining our Patreon, consider doing that, please. We would totally appreciate that. As we get back to the conversation with Lily Nova Starseed, you can catch her on YouTube as well under Lily Nova Starseed. So make sure you guys go ahead and go over, hit that subscribe button for her as well. Lily, let's get into, because you said you studied consciousness, and I can jump down a huge rabbit hole talking about it. What does consciousness mean to you? And how is it important to where we need to go as humanity?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So essentially, consciousness is everything. So originally, I can't remember kind of where I was at whenever I was first studying it before the UFOs came, but I know I was very much into like mental health and personal development. So training your mind like through affirmations, healing, kind of creating your reality. I've always felt very strong about you being the creator of your reality. Don't play the victim card. You can change your reality. Of course, terrible things can happen to us, but it's really how you perceive it and what you're going to do about it. So I've always been a big advocate for that. And that naturally took me into, the study of consciousness. And what I know about it now, it's really everything, and it connects everything. So we are all one. And this is what the ETs taught me whenever our communication first began. They taught me that we are all one. Even these beings that we are seeing or interacting with, they are all one with us. We are connected. Everything is connected. We all come from the same source, and that makes sense. So it's all one thing. We're kind of like pieces of source or spirit incarnated in these physical bodies, but really everything is connected. So it's amazing what you can do. How do you even put it into words? Through working with consciousness, there's just amazing things that you can see, perceive, and access. So like the Akashic records, like I was talking about earlier, that's known as like a quantum records of every person's, all of their past lives, their future lives, the history of the earth, the history of the galaxy, everything. It's like a record of everything. And that's all around us, and it's within us too. So you can actually connect with that to retrieve information about any time period, even with basically remote viewing is what you can do with it. Yeah, remote viewing, which that blew my mind. Oh my God, like that's amazing. How do we not know that this can happen? But the CIA was experimenting with that for for decades. They've been experimenting with that. They've known about that. Psychic spies. So yeah, it's amazing what you can do. And since we're all connected, you can do a lot with your mind. And I think we're just beginning we haven't even really scratched the surface on what we are capable of through consciousness. And a lot of these extraterrestrials, or probably all of them, they use consciousness assisted technology to power their ships and things like that. Like it kind of interfaces with their consciousness. So they can just think something and the ship goes that way. And it's kind of similar to like what Elon Musk is trying to do with like the Neuralink type thing. Like that's basically what he's trying to do, have technology and consciousness and the mind interfacing. But these advanced species, they're like way beyond that, where you don't need to put something in your mind or in your brain to do that. But yeah, so that's my answer.
Yeah. I mean, I like the way you're thinking. Once again, you're on the right path for sure, especially on that idea. And the way I look at it is that consciousness is everything. It's everywhere. It's right here. It's on the other side of the universe. It powers the universe. It's the energy that makes us us. And I kind of feel like we, as people call them meat sacks, I feel like consciousness does not, I don't feel like it lives in the brain. I guess that's a whole big debate right now.
Mm.
The way I look at it, my theory is that almost like taking a light, a lamp, and plugging it into the wall. So our brain essentially is the plug that you plug into the socket. The electricity is there. And so when you plug into it, you tap into it, it powers your body, allows you to do. And then once you disconnect that, the energy still exists and still lives on, and it's everywhere. So that
Mhm.
I'm glad that you look at it that way. But I also feel like you stated, with the because of that reason, it allows us to do things like remote viewing. Because when you think about it, some people say, okay, how can you just vision something across the world or on another planet, or and but it's actually, it's all interconnected, so why wouldn't you be able to do that, right?
Yeah.
And so that's kind of how I look at consciousness. So like I said, I could go really deep on that, but we're so the Neuralink thing, and that's, I'm glad you brought that up, because I actually just watched the Joe Rogan video right before the show about that. And you're right, it's essentially like an artificial uh tapping into those other things in your brain, or the other things within your consciousness, right?
Mhm.
The things that you can activate naturally through processes like you said, meditation, and just the whole enlightenment process.
Mhm.
So I think that's interesting. Where do you think we so where do you think we end up as humanity once we have all these things unlocked? Like,
Mhm.
what does the world look like at that point?
Mhm.
Or
Yeah. Yeah. So there will be free energy on Earth, and a lot of like the pyramids in ancient Egypt, and there's like these sites all over the planet that will be kind of turning back on, and that will provide free energy for the whole planet. And even Nikola Tesla, like he was picking up free energy from the field and from the earth. So we'll be able to do that. We won't have to pay for, gas or electricity. It'll just be free. And that's a part of the corruption, because there's like these oil tech tycoons and these, the big electrical companies and gas companies. They've kind of suppressed this information because they don't want it coming out. But so we'll have free energy, and I foresee, a lot of pyramids, structures that work in harmony with nature. We'll be working more with kind of the sacred geometry of nature in harmony with the universe. Crystal technology. So apparently, most, if not all, of these extraterrestrials, they also use crystals to help power their ships and power everything. Um, Crystals hold a lot of information, so you can actually store tons of information in these crystals, just a tiny piece of crystal, and science is starting to figure that out. Crystals are in every single watch and in every single computer. So our technology will be changing and advancing, and as that happens, we will become a more abundant planet, in more peace, not so much, fighting. A lot of fighting has been going on for so many years because of religion, and also because of kind of poverty is a big part of it too. So yeah, I
yeah,
foresee us moving through a lot of that. So I'm excited.
that's where it can get deep, yeah, because you're right. The in a heightened state of consciousness, that whole dynamic does have to shift, where, like you said earlier, things should be equal for everyone across the globe, because there's no reason that it shouldn't be. And then to go to the Nikola Tesla uh uh conversation you were just having, I think it's more I almost feel like, and I don't know if we'll ever know this, but that it he almost tapped into like a harnessing, I think, the same energy that powers us. I think that energy that he's pulling out of the air is the same energy that is all around us and powers this planet and this universe. I think he tapped into that. And I think that is a scary thing for the oil companies and things of that nature. And I think that's why they did what they did to him and kind of took all his records, because that's like the holy grail of, it's a really big part of knowing really what the, you know, capabilities are, what our capabilities are. So I think that's actually pretty awesome. So let's get into kind of some remote viewing and CE5. So have you done that? And what have you experienced? Have you seen anything while doing CE5? And I don't know if you can go into that.
Yeah, so CE5 as in human initiated contact with UFOs or extraterrestrials. Yeah. Yes, I've seen amazing, incredible things. The first time I did it, very first time that I did it, I had somebody with me who I had just met, but they were more experienced with like the spiritual aspect. I was just starting to kind of learn about that. I didn't know much about that at the time, but he had also had experiences with UFOs. So we went out and we went to initiate contact, and within 5 minutes of kind of sending our intention out there that we wanted to make contact and kind of inviting that in, a golden orb appeared, and it's like a golden light, and it was super cloudy. So this golden orb of light appeared, and it was kind of like moving around, and I was trying to ask it questions, and it was moving around to my questions. And then that's actually whenever I received my first telepathic vision of and got to see what these beings looked like. So he suggested that we closed our eyes to see if we get any information that way, which sounded strange to me at the time, but now it makes sense through the third eye, through your extrasensory perception. So I closed my eyes, and then I was sent these telepathic visions and images. And I saw the beings, and they had light blue skin, they had no hair, and but they looked very human, and they had skin tight silver uniforms on, similar to Star Trek. So I got to see them, and seriously, they looked just like human, just with light blue skin and no hair. Very beautiful beings. So that was my first experience with CE5. And then I started doing it literally like every single day after that. And I would see like orbs of light. And I would go out with my camera, and I captured a lot of footage of it. I would also see sometimes ships. The last time I did it, I had 2 ships appear right outside of my house. I got some of it on camera. It was kind of, the focus kind of went in and out, but 2 ships appeared, and they were doing circles around each other. And then and this is broad daylight during the afternoon, and then they disappeared. They were there for about a minute, and then they disappeared. So yeah, I've had amazing experiences with CE5.
Yeah, I personally, I feel, and I'm on a mission. Everyone here knows this. To get a bunch of CE5 specialists together to call in some craft, like in front of the world, because I feel like that could happen. I feel like that's very attainable. But the thing is that obviously in the state that we're in, we talked about not being ready to join the Galactic Federation. Do you feel like, in the government, they throw around these terms? It's a hot term right now, either controlled disclosure, catastrophic disclosure, which I personally lean more towards catastrophic disclosure. I'm just like, hey, let's let it out now. Let's do it now. Knowing though that there's going to be some hurdles that we'll have to jump through just as humanity, because it might knock us down a few steps, because society may change. It may shift the way things are done here on the planet. Do you feel like, I'll say this, I feel like potentially in that moment, we may have, if we realize that we can do these other things, and we realize that there's more to this life than what we know within society, I just feel like that may awaken a lot of people almost immediately. How do you feel about that? Like in a moment of catastrophic disclosure, do you think that's a good idea, or do you think we should do the control method that the government is talking about?
Well, so there's some good government, but then there's a lot of negative government, a lot of people pulling the strings, the shadow government, if you will, that and they know, they've been in contact with ETs for a long time. They've been knowing about this. They've been with Roswell, they've been reverse engineering these craft and these technologies that they're hiding, which is messed up because they should have just came out and been upfront about it. I don't know why you would hide that. Well, for a control, really.
Yep.
So you have to really be careful and have discernment with things that are coming out in the government, especially with things that are coming out in the media. Like, most of that is BS. And even some of these UFOs or craft may actually be government craft. So you really have to have discernment with that. But there are a lot of good people in positions like that also, and people that don't know kind of the darker agenda behind that. So I think what's happening right now, a lot of us are having these personal experiences because essentially we are the disclosure. We're sharing our stories, we're sharing our voices, we are coming together as communities, and we are this disclosure. That's what we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be sharing this, and then we help awaken other people to it. Friends, family, or whoever. Sometimes people aren't ready, and you have to respect that and just plant seeds and do what you can. But yeah, I think we are the disclosure. But I do see, some mass sighting events happening. I think we're starting to kind of be ready for that, but I think that will probably come over the next couple of years, maybe a few years, where it's kind of like a big mass thing. Because then you also have some of the very religious people who a lot of people would probably freak out because they've been so kind of programmed to believe that we are the only ones, and where does God or source fit into this whole thing with extraterrestrials, when really we're all connected and we're all made from the same source. But so yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a big thing. I mean, I talked with Dave. I came on with Dave the other night, and we kind of talked about the thing that he asked me, what would be the thing in a catastrophic moment like that, where they just show up tomorrow? What would be the thing that you would be most afraid of? And the thing that would scare you the most about it? And my answer is that just the simple fact that, we will probably have to go through a rebuilding period that will be a scary sort of time, because the protections that we think we enjoy in this fake society, really, because we saw what happened during the plague that we just had, how things fell apart almost in a week. So we could just imagine, like, being knocked back with the catastrophic disclosure. It's going to be a scary time, but it's going to benefit our grandchildren and those down the road. So it's something that we kind of have to deal with if it were to happen. How do you feel about that? Like, do you what do you think would be the best way to get through that moment? Like, if we have to kind of rebuild, and what do you think, what would be your thought process on getting through that?
Yeah. So the benevolent ETs, they are very, very calculated about this, and very, very precise about how they reveal themselves and who they reveal themselves to. So I think they wouldn't do it before humanity is ready. And of course, there's still going to be a transition period, but we're starting to see things like with the religious aspect, like the Pope or the Vatican or whoever it was, just had like a conference about paranormal things. I don't know if you saw anything about that. I didn't look into it too much, but I heard about that. And that was something that the ETs told me last year was coming, that the Vatican and the Pope was going to start disclosing these more of these concepts to help prepare people. So we're seeing a lot of things that are preparing people in many different ways. So that's going to continue happening. And then it will get easier and easier to process this whenever mass disclosure happens, where it's like in your face. But also, I think we need to do our part as starseeds and people in this community to help prepare others too, and teach people and hold spaces and podcasts like these. So I think we're already basically doing it. And for people who may be just waking up, that maybe or family or whatever, just holding space for them and talking with them through it and helping them to understand, I think is the best thing that we could do.
Yeah, I think you also touched on a great point earlier, the whole mental aspect of this, because there's going to be some people that take this pretty hard and will need help and guidance through a period like that. So my whole goal in doing all this, like I said, being led into a position to speak to people about this, is just to make sure that we are having the conversations now instead of waiting until disclosure happens and then trying to figure it all out then. Like, I think we need to have some idea of where we would go and just think through the different scenarios that may take place on the other side. It may be love and light, and we may, go the benevolent path and get with the ETs when they think we're ready, or we may get the ETs that aren't so friendly, that kind of just want to show up, and I just think we need to be more prepared than not. And I think it's a disservice because the government obviously knows about all this stuff. They know about what our abilities are, like you pointed out with the Project Stargate and the studying remote viewing, things that we thought back then were just bananas. But they actually realized somehow at some point that we had these other abilities. Then they tried to tap into them, and they're using them for obviously nefarious purposes. But I just don't feel like they have a plan for us. And I may be wrong. They may be in the back rooms with some great plan on how we get pushed forward, but I doubt it. And I think it's really just up to us as humanity to sit down, have these conversations like we're doing now, talk through the different ways that we could get through this, so that we're best prepared. But getting into so I want to get more into like the healing, right? The energy, the healing energy. So if you could, are you into that first of all? And then if you could kind of describe your idea of how that works.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So I've always been, like I said, into personal development and holistic healing. But even before the UFOs came, I had a lot of mental kind of health situations that I had to work through, and it runs in my family too. Even like addiction running in the family, and healing from that. So that really helped fuel my passion for healing. And so whenever I began having contact with ETs, that was another big thing that they worked with me on, was healing, taking a really deep look at myself, reflecting and kind of like unpeeling the layers with different traumas from childhood and even past lifetime traumas that started coming up once I discovered, oh my gosh, I've had, past lifetimes, because this isn't our first rodeo. We're old souls. We've done this many, many times before in a variety of different situations and experiences. So that's pretty fascinating also, but that was starting to come up. And so my star family really helped me to reflect and look at that and work towards healing these different aspects of myself so that I could become a brighter light, so that I could become more confident, so that I could stand more in my power. The possibilities are endless, so that I could open my heart, because a lot of us have kind of closed off our hearts because we've been hurt so many times, or we hold grudges, or we have triggers that kind of throw us off. So a lot of the kind of mental and spiritual healing, I worked very, very hard on, and I'm very passionate about that. And I do a lot of that through like my sessions and in workshops and on my YouTube channel, the meditations and things like that. I help people do healing. And that's part of how I channel too. I channel these meditations to assist people with various things, but then also physical healing. So you can actually physically heal too. And a lot of it is your intention in your mind, kind of unlocking your superpowers. And then frequency is a big part of it too. Frequency heals. So there's a frequency for health, just like there's a frequency for sickness. So I've seen some amazing things, and I've helped facilitate like channeled healing sessions. I just had a lady who had gotten a session from me. She just told me last week she had this neck pain for all of her life. Basically, she said for like 20 plus years she had this really bad neck pain, and she wanted me to look into that. So I meditated on it, and I found out actually that she had some sort of a device that was in that area. So after the reading, I did a channeled activation where we went in and I asked the star beings also to assist in removing that. And she just told me last week that since we did that session, which was like a month or so ago, her pain literally stopped and it has not come back. And this is the first time she's been pain-free in like 20 plus years. And that's incredible. So like tons of things like that. That's just one example, but we're so powerful, especially with assistance from spirit and our star families who can kind of see things from a higher perspective, and they have advanced technology. Also, they can help us do really amazing things, but also it's in us to be able to heal ourselves as well as nature, herbs, things like that.
I believe that totally. And excuse me, I'm gonna tell this story. They've heard this, but it's just so awesome. And I've seen prior to this event, I would see things like you see televangelists do healing on television, and they touch a person and the healed person. And it's like, man, does that really happen? But I'll tell you this, and this made me a believer in healing energy. I have a Chihuahua. I have four actually, but I had a little baby Chihuahua and a little cute little baby girl, and I had the litter we had just had. They got sick with parvo, so a couple of them passed away. Unfortunately, I had to bury them in our backyard, and then the little girl, her name's Ladybug, and she was okay, but I was like, she's with the other dog, so she probably has it too. And then yes, she did, and we took her to the vet, and she pretty much didn't make it. My daughter was sleeping with her one night. I'm in the bed sleep, and then I get woke up. She says she didn't make it. So I'm just like, oh my God, I can't believe this. I'm just upset because I already buried two dogs just the other day. So I'm like, oh, where is she at? So she tells me she's right there, and she had it on a little dog couch, and she has it wrapped up in a blanket, fully covered up, like ready to bury. So I go to get the dog. I'm just about to go back here, dig the hole, put her in it. I go to grab her, and she just kicks. Just out of nowhere, she kicks real hard, and I'm like, she is not dead, right? So, but she was lifeless, and I held her in my hands for like 4 hours. I sat there rubbing her, saying her name to her, just talking to her the whole time, hydrating her, and slowly but surely over that 4 hour period, first her eyes opened. Well, no, first she started drinking the liquid. Then her eyes opened. Then she kind of became alert, and she was looking around, and she's fine here today. And that was just, to me, showed that there is a such thing as healing energy, and not saying I'm the one that healed her, but I believe I was being used as a conduit to transfer that healing energy into her. And I would have never thought that this was even possible prior to this. But that event made me a believer. So for everybody out there, healing energy is a real thing. And it isn't necessarily that person that's doing the healing. It's the energy you're just being used as a conduit to transfer into this being or life form or whatever you want to call it. So that's my story on proof that healing energy is real. So
That's amazing. And I wanted to add also, and somebody in the chat said it too, the power of love. So love is so healing, that the love that you have for another person or an animal or a pet. Something similar just happened with my mom's dog. We almost lost him, and the vet called her and said, basically he was crashing and they didn't know if he was going to come back. And my brother's like, you need to go up there because he's with these strangers, the cat. And she went up there and he was basically like lifeless. He was on the verge of death. And whenever he saw her, he started to kind of, that gave him hope. And she wrapped him in a sweater. So he had her scent, and just being in her presence and in that exchange of love. After she left, the vet called her like 30 minutes later, and he had done like a complete 180, and then he was fine. So he ended up being okay. But yeah, so that's really, really powerful. And I just wanted to share that. Yeah, the love, that connection. And then also with your hands, we channel that energy through our hands too. So, using your hands to kind of channel that healing energy, I found has been very powerful too.
That's what happened. I swear. They swear that she had passed away. They said no, she was gone. They swear. I was like, she couldn't be, because I wish she was alive. And they were like, no, she was gone. And then I go and grab her, and she jumps like she knew I was about to bury her.
Yeah.
And she's telling me, no, I'm alive. And that just, for me, just, and she sticks to me to this day. Like or anytime I step in the room, she's all over me. And she just, like, she's so thankful for me playing a part in that. And I take no, I don't say that I'm the one that did it. I always give it to whatever that is up there that wanted to channel that through me and keep her here. So yeah. So with that being said, what is your theory on alien abductions? What do you think is behind that? What species? And what do you think? A lot of people think it's for hybridization, things of that nature. What is your outlook on abductions? Why do they do it?
Yeah, so there's many, many, many different types of situations, and I think programs. So part of what the deal that kind of our shadow government, whenever the ETs first made contact with humanity back in the 40s, I think, whenever President Eisenhower was in office. I don't know, have you heard about this? But the President Eisenhower, basically like two groups of ETs came and offered to assist humanity. There was a negative group of ETs and then a positive group of ETs. And basically the shadow government, not President Eisenhower, it was out of his hands, Majestic 12, this group called Majestic 12, and you could research on that, basically made a deal with these negative ETs in exchange for technology and weapons. They would allow these ETs to abduct a certain amount of humans, to use their DNA, to use them for, whatever, hybridization, taking DNA is a big part of it. So basically the shadow government signed basically a deal with these negative ETs to allow them to do that. So there's a lot of cases like that, but then there's also a lot of like positive kind of abduction experiences too, where sometimes some of these beings may be your star family, beings that you have contracts with. It may not be a negative thing. It can be a very positive thing. I know I've been up on the ship, and I know my mom has also. Sometimes they may be doing healing on you or working on you or kind of checking up on your body, and they will also, they can follow these different generations, and through kind of the different generations, and some of them add their DNA to us to kind of upgrade us through the generations. So sometimes you'll see generational abductions. So I know that's part of my family, and probably many of you guys too, especially if you're like interested in this, or you're more kind of aware or intuitive. You may be upgraded with some of this kind of ET genetics. So that's part of it. Also hybrid programs. And like I said, there are negative hybrid programs, and then there are positive hybrid programs.
I feel like, I'm on the fence with the hybridization, only because, I just, I don't know if anyone knows if these beings are carbon based, if we even share the type of DNA that would be compatible when you look at other things on Earth. and we couldn't procreate with pretty much any of these things. So
Mhm.
but obviously it could be a possibility. The whole government, I think that they potentially would do a deal like that. I mean, I think that because obviously they're all about power, and as long as they can keep power, then yeah, they'll sacrifice us. They've shown it many a times. They've subjected military troops, to all sorts of horrific things. And
Yeah.
that's supposed to be the military, right? And it's just strange that they would do that.
Yeah.
What do you think about because there are some theories that the missing 411, for example, is something that we always talk about, and how maybe some of these ETs aren't bringing people back. And then I've had people say, well, maybe it's not really that they're not bringing them back. Maybe it's that the people they abducted didn't want to come back, or
Mhm.
wanted to go with them. So
Mhm.
I think that maybe there's a little bit of that going on. But how do you feel about just the fact that the government would know, whether they made a deal or not, that these things are taking us, and the government just sits around and acts like none of this is going on? Like, how do
Mhm.
you feel about that? What do you think about that?
I mean, it was hard to believe at first. I got my kitty here.
Hey,
Um,
kitty.
yeah, it was really hard for me to believe and wrap my head around at first, but the further I went, and also the more that I was seeing through kind of like remote viewing and meditation, and through my ET contact, I discovered that yes, that is the case. There's been a lot of stuff going on for a long time that has been kept from us. It's insane. Um, I'm sorry, what was your question again?
Like, as far as the how do you feel about the fact that the government knows, whether
Mm,
they made a deal or not, that these ETs are taking us, and they
mhm,
won't tell us that these
mhm,
things are going on?
mhm. Yeah, so I don't think probably not that many people know about what's really going on. I think a majority of people are good, but there's kind of like this group at the top, or like top secret or above top secret. Apparently there's like 20 levels above top secret uh, that would know about these things. So I think a majority of people, they have no idea. Even in the government, probably a majority, they have no idea. Um,
Yeah.
so that makes me feel a little bit better, I guess. But
Yeah, I guess I could see that. Yeah, because there's definitely going to be. I mean, they say the president isn't briefed on this stuff, and so they wouldn't be aware that these things are happening. But it just makes me upset that someone within the government would know this, and it's
yeah.
like we trust in the government to keep us safe, so we go out to places like the woods, or we go
Mm,
on long drives by ourselves through the desert in the middle of the night,
mhm,
like I often do. And it's like, would you do that? Would you take that drive if you were made aware that there are these things out there taking
mhm,
people? There's a lot of people that probably would say, no, I'm not going in the woods, or no, I'm not going to take that drive. It is just the fact that we should probably know these things, so
mhm.
that we can make the best decision that we can make for our own lives, and our own safety as well.
Yeah. Well,
And
and
it's
they're
just
taking
something to think about.
yeah, I mean, and they take children too. They take
And that's
children.
what I mean. That's what I
It's
mean.
disgusting. It's disgusting, and it's very, very dark. It's very disgusting, it's very dark, and it's happening probably more than we even know, and it's happening, like, everywhere in these underground, facilities. I've accidentally come across, some of these things, and once you start becoming aware of that, you'll and you kinda, like, keep an eye out for that, like, you'll start seeing these things are happening everywhere.
Yeah, I think they are. And so I wanted to get into one other thing, because I know you're into the astrophotography, and that's kind of
Mhm,
how you got into this.
mhm.
What type of stuff have you captured on film, and are you able to share any of that stuff with us?
Yeah, yeah, I can definitely share that. So I'll just go ahead and share my screen now. Mm, okay, entire screen.
All right.
So okay, can you see this?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So I'll show you a picture of, well, first, here's one of me and the Milky Way. So that's over the beach, over the ocean. So that's,
Wow,
yeah, isn't that beautiful?
that is, jeez.
And
That
you
is
can,
awesome.
yeah, and you can drive out like an hour from a city and see the Milky Way, an hour or so outside of the city. It's amazing. So here's a picture I took of the Pleiades.
Whoa. What type of
Yeah.
camera are you using?
A Nikon D53 DSLR camera, and then this was taken with a 300 millimeter lens. So it basically it zooms in pretty good. It's like putting a little telescope and attaching it to your camera.
Wow, that is awesome. Beautiful.
Yeah, it's amazing what you can capture. This is the Orion Nebula, which is right under Orion's belt.
Wow, this is unfiltered. This is straight from your camera.
Well, so you have to, in order to really get it, you have to take a bunch of photographs and then you have to stack them together to pull all of the detail out of it.
Ah, okay, okay.
Yeah, so this is a bunch. You have to do some processing afterwards, and just kind of like stack it all together. But yes,
Wow.
yeah,
Jeez.
you can even see that with binoculars if the skies are dark enough. It'll look like a smudge.
And she said that's the what nebula?
The Orion Nebula, it's under Orion's belt.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
that is awesome.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. And then this is the Andromeda Galaxy. This is probably one of my best ones.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That is awesome. Oh my God. You're really okay. That's top-notch stuff.
And you can see there's another galaxy right here, actually.
Wow.
Yeah, it looks like a little smudge.
Whoa.
Yeah, pretty crazy. Since I'm sharing, do you want me to share a few pictures?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. So this is what the first beings that I saw, what they looked like.
Okay. Yeah, I've heard of the blue beans.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, these ones are specifically Andromeda constellation, from the Andromeda constellation. But a lot of blue beings are from Sirius too and other places. Blue seems to be pretty kind of like common out there for skin color, and I guess it just has to do with the difference in atmosphere and all of that will make their skin look different. I can show you a couple of a UFO photo real quick, a couple of UFO photos. So here's me meditating doing a CE5. I set up my camera to take consecutive photos. So it was taking a picture every like second. And then I asked them to appear in front of the camera. And I got a craft that, hold on, let me plug in my mouse here. I got a craft that showed up in 2 different photos or 3 different photos. And yeah.
That is crazy, Lily. That's insane.
And I'll show you kind of a better one. I've got one that's like more cleaned up. And there was something else up here too. I think there was 2. There it is, a little bit cleaned up.
Wow. Oh my God.
Pretty crazy, right?
That is epic, actually. That is crazy.
Yeah.
And what do you think that is? Like what species do you think?
I think this was probably the Andromedans, the light blue ones. But I've got another picture where I believe they were Syrians. I'll show you that one. So this is same deal. I set up the camera and I had it taking a time lapse. So it was taking a picture every second. And then you see me here. I was walking in front of the camera. I asked them to appear. And then if you see over here, this appeared in one photo. It was only there for a second and then it blipped back out. and it kind of looks like two black triangles, and then like a tear in space-time or a portal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've caught something like that too, like a zigzag line.
Mm. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So that's 2 photos. I'll show you one more. This is a video of a beam of light coming from a craft. This was my second experience. So there's a craft right here, and you'll see a beam of light emit from it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay. Jeez.
Isn't that crazy?
That's receipts. I like receipts. Receipts
Yeah.
are good.
Yeah. So that's basically how I started. I'll just show you one more. This was the golden orb that appeared whenever I initiated contact for the first time, and the first time I saw the light blue beings. This was the orb of light that they appeared in.
Wow.
Yeah, so
That's the real deal. You got some good stuff.
Thank you. Yeah, there it is from far away. You see all the clouds.
And see, if we're catching this stuff, we know the government is catching this stuff. They're fully aware. They know what all these things are. They've seen all these things before. And that's the problem I have with them. That's what makes me upset is if we're catching this stuff, they are, and it's like, okay, well, why not say something about it? Why not? You don't have to say anything more than we're seeing these things, they're here, and you can leave it at that. You don't have to disclose any government secrets or any, and it's just like, why won't they do it? And that's the question that keeps messing me up. I mean, we know it's because they don't want to lose power, but it's like, if you care about humanity, then you'll at least give us that. Like, give us that, and then we could try to work together on what to do. You know what I mean? But they're leaving it up to us for humanity-led disclosure. So that's awesome. I appreciate you showing that stuff, Lily. I know I had at least, let me see. Someone submitted a question here. All right. Reverend Joe, Cosmic Joe Chronicles. Do you think we would travel to another star system in our lifetime if we end up needing to, I guess?
If we needed to, like if there was a catastrophic event, I do believe that that would happen. Just living normally, I don't think that maybe some of us would be able to get to do that, but I don't know if that would be open to the masses being able to travel to another star system just yet. We've got some we've got to get rid of the corruption. We've got to clean up our act first before we're allowed to go travel to other places. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, which is why they're sitting here hovering over our nuclear sites, and that's the other thing, right? So we talk about the agreement made during the Eisenhower time, and I feel like if they did meet, then they probably said, "Hey, get rid of these nukes, and then we can go ahead and go forward." But the problem is that when you have a government, powers that be, that are speaking on behalf of humanity, we don't get a say so in that. Because if it was left to us, we would agree and say, yeah, let's get rid of these nukes. But they wouldn't want to. So what if they gave us an ultimatum and gave us a timeline or a time frame, said you guys have to get rid of them by this year, or X, Y, and Z is going to happen. We're not privy to know what those consequences could be. And so that's another thing that really bothers me about the government stepping in and speaking on behalf of everybody else, because we know they don't have our best interest at heart, and they really could be setting us up for failure, truthfully. And so that's what I feel about that. But what I'd like to do is, if you could go ahead and talk about, I know you've authored a book, and if you mind talking about that and some of the things that you're also into, your channel and everything else.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so I just published my first book. It's already a bestseller on Amazon. It's called Contact. Um, an incredible true story of contact with beings from another world and spiritual awakening. But you can just find it by looking up it's on Amazon. Contact by Lily Nova, and it will pop up. So that goes into my experiences from the beginning and in my awakening, and it has also pictures of the beings of the UFOs. It goes into CE5 and in some of my CE5 footage. There's QR codes with links, and then it goes into the messages that they shared and them teaching me how to develop my psychic abilities, activate DNA. And there's also a how to make contact guide and other resources. So it's fantastic. I'm super excited about it, and a lot of people have given great feedback already. You can look at the reviews on Amazon, but a lot of people started having experiences, spiritual experiences, as well as experiences with their star families or UFOs from reading this. So it's channeled essentially, so it activates you as you read. So that's my baby. So that's my book. You can find that on Amazon. Besides that, I'm very active on YouTube. I've got my YouTube channel, Lily Nova Starseed, and I usually go live every other Sunday, and I do some podcasts and things like that. You can look around my playlists. And my website is lilynovacontact.com. And I also have a Patreon channel where we do Tier 3, we do bi-weekly meetings and meditations on Zoom, group meetings, and then monthly Q&As and things like that. So yeah, that's what I got going on.
That is awesome stuff. That is awesome stuff. And I can tell you definitely on the right path off of what we've conversed about today. So I would say keep enlightening people and keep doing what you were destined to do. You know what I mean? Because I feel like we have been led into the same sort of platform to voice or give this message to others, and it's a positive message. It's one about enlightenment, and that's definitely what we all should be doing. So awesome stuff there. I did have a quick question though, as far as what would be your outlook on paranormal cryptids? Have you experienced any of that, or what is your view on paranormal and cryptid?
Yeah. So I've experienced some paranormal stuff too, especially after the UFOs and ET contact. That kind of opened me up to other things too. Sasquatch. I have a great relationship with Sasquatch. I've met multiple different Sasquatch clans.
Wow.
So yeah, I love the Sasquatch. And the Sasquatch that I've seen are very, very intelligent, and they have a higher level of consciousness. They some of them are healers. They've been the experiences I've had with the Sasquatch are very, very benevolent, and they've actually helped me with some of my own personal healing too. So I love working with the Sasquatch, and I actually have some videos on the Sasquatch and live activations where I dive into that and help people do meditations to connect with them. Because the Sasquatch, they want to connect with us. At this conference that I just went to, the Rebels of Disclosure, hosted by Journey to Truth, Jessica spoke there last year. But there's a local Sasquatch clan in Grafton, Illinois, that's right on the property. This was a very woodsy, beautiful property. And so many people had Sasquatch experiences this year, and they were also like kind of guarding us and coming up to us. That's the closest contact that I've had with Sasquatch. A couple people saw them physically. And yeah, they want, as humanity is raising their consciousness, and if you have a good heart, pure intentions, and you're of a certain frequency of a higher vibe, they want to interact with us and they want to help us. So that's been really beautiful. I haven't had experiences with other cryptids, but I do know people who have. And I have seen some in visions, like the dog man type person. I've seen geneticists like creating them, which is kind of messed up. But so I've kind of seen some of that too.
Well, we'll save that, Lily. That way I can have you back sometime soon. So It's been great talking to you, and I really, it's a great conversation. I really do appreciate you coming on in. We'll stay in touch, and we'll have to set this up again.
Awesome. Thank you. It's been so nice speaking with you. Thanks for having me on.
No problem, Lily. Have a great rest of your night, and take care.
Thank you.
All right, later. All right, guys. Lily Nova Star Seed. Ladies and gentlemen, can you give it up? Okay. Aloha Dave, thank you so much for the awesome super chat. We had a master class on consciousness and disclosure tonight. Thank you, Lily, for sharing that with SOR. Thank you for your support of Spaced Out Radio. Aloha Dave, we do appreciate you. So we're going to go ahead and get ready to jump into this final break right here on Spaced Out Radio. Don't go anywhere, because we have Lee and Jax coming up with some awesome stuff live from Mount Adams, Washington. You guys don't go anywhere. Don't move.
Conversations that move the needle.
Conversations that move the
You're
needle.
listening to After Hours with Mr. Rob G on the only place where you can own the night. Spaced Out Radio.
Spaced Out Radio.
You've tuned your dial to the right frequency.
right, guys, welcome back to Spaced Out Radio After Hour number tres, with me, your host, Mr. Rob G, as we go ahead and get ready to jump into a little more fun stuff, right? I told you, as it says on the screen here, Lee and Jax are going to be joining us momentarily live from Mount Adams, Washington. They got some awesome stuff going on up there. But I'd like to make sure that you guys go to the swag store, pick up some SOR swag. You can do that at spacedoutradio.com/shop. As Dave says, we don't have ugly swag. And I'll agree. We have some pretty awesome swag. So make sure you go check it out. And then go to the SOR fan zone on the Spaced Out Radio website and post your pics wearing the SOR swag, so that we can post these things on the website. It's there. I showed you guys last time. Make sure you guys go ahead and do that. And let's go ahead and get into it, right? So I'm going to go ahead and bring in our guest tonight for hour 3, live from Mount Adams, Washington. Lee and Jax, or Jackson Lee. Either way, it's all good.
I think we prefer Jackson Lee. I think that works the best.
Jackson Lee sounds good. Okay, so you guys are out there, Mount Adams. It looks pretty dark out there and creepy. What's going on? What do you have for us? What's the latest? What's going on out there?
Oh, well, we don't want to get too much into the stuff that's happened previously. We want to
we'll tell you more tonight.
Yeah, we'll tell you some more stuff, but it's been very active out here. Not so much volcanically active, but paranormally active. Heck yes, a lot.
Yeah. We're going to share what's going on here at Mount Adams, what we experienced from last night when we got here. But we're actually going to talk about our first night experience on our show coming Friday, June 28th from 8 to 9 on Spaced Out Radio. But let's go ahead and tell everybody what's going on here tonight. So what do we have?
All right. Well, I've got several cameras going up in the background right now. I've got the Psionics and the Luna Optics going next to each other, side by side, so people can see the difference between those two cameras, which I'll take you over there to those cameras in a minute. And I've also got a Sony A7S III that's, all these cameras I set up looking directly over the mountain, so that I can at least have a frame of reference for what we're viewing in the night sky. And the reason why I come to Mount Adams, if people don't know, is there is a lot of activity. Have you ever had as much activity anywhere that you've ever gone?
I never have.
Mount Adams is a paranormal wonderland. I'll tell you right now. It's quite amazing, actually.
Yeah.
And I don't know the reason why. I mean, there's a lot of theories behind it. One of my thoughts was, for so many thousands of years, been Native Americans in the area worshiping the mountain, and that may have a lot to do with why the veil may be thinner here. But nevertheless, I mean, UFO activity is high. Bigfoot activity is high here. Other paranormal stuff as well. So this is just the hotbed for it. Like I said, it's a paranormal wonderland.
Yeah.
And I'll, if you want, I'll take you on over to the cameras and show you what's going on.
We would love it. We would love it.
You want to show me the screen?
Okay, so I've got a lot of things that are going off in front of me right here. It's kind of like, if you're at NASA's page, or not page, but NASA's room, where they've got all their stuff. I'm just going to flip the camera around here and see if you guys can see what's going on here. This is one of my monitors, and this right here is showing where the ISS is currently, just so that I can track that sort of thing. Next monitor here is showing me, where the stars are and what's up. And then I've got like the air traffic in the next one, and a big monitor over here is showing everything that I've got going on in all my monitors and that sort of thing. And another one here where I've got inputs from different cameras coming in, and my YOLO, which is right here where I broadcast everything and all my live shows when I'm out here in the field. And I do this maybe once a month or whatever, and it's the first time Jackie has gone out with me, and she's is loving it. She's loving all the activity and everything that's been going on. So I'll take you guys over to the actual where the cameras are. It is super dark over here, but you can see where I've got one of my monitors set up. I've got a monitor on each camera, so I can view. If I need to, I can move the camera around out here and view, and you know, if I'm capturing stuff or whatever the case may be. And there's
live view.
These are live views.
Look,
Wow.
hold it up and see if they can actually see it, since it's not.
Okay, so I'm going to try to show you a view of the mountain, if you guys can actually see it through.
Yeah, because it's not
Right.
quite.
Yeah,
Just barely.
just
Yeah,
barely, right.
It's
So
covered
that's
in snow.
right, and this here's the this is the Luna optics, which is capturing the top of the mountain right now. And that sky back there looks as bright as day.
Exactly. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
So we're waiting for the stars to come out.
Yes, we are. We're waiting for them to pop up over the mountain, and they will. Just take some time, right? And this right here, believe it or not, that's the psionics. That's what I'm getting from the psionics right now, which is just a bunch of garbage.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes. It's way
There's
better than psionics.
yeah, that psionics is not getting very clear picture at the moment. And I'm going to take you over to my full spectrum camera,
Flashlight for you.
and here's my full spectrum.
Jeez.
So that's gonna capture anything in the infrared and the ultraviolet range. So anyway, we'll take you back over to the truck where we can talk a little bit about the stuff that happens out here. Yeah, anyway, come on over.
Okay.
So do you want to tell them what happened last night?
Yeah. Okay. So we got here, I would say somewhere around maybe 5 or 6. And we decided we were just going to set up camp, just like a kind of a smaller camp last night than we had been, because the first original camp we had 2 tents and like a kitchen tent and like everything. So it took us like the whole day to do it. So we were exhausted. We decided to set up and just basically chill out and get some rest. And so I could say we lay down probably around 6 o'clock, maybe something like that. And within minutes, of course, Lee's zonked out and I'm just laying there staring at the ceiling, like I can't sleep for anything. And so probably it was about midnight, I guess. I had fallen asleep for a little while. And out of nowhere, about 12 to 12:15, this massively bright light just filled up the entire tent. Now I had laid there for a little bit awake just before this happened, but it was dark. You see the moon a little bit shiny, but you don't see like a bright light. Well, there was this massive bright light shining down from the sky into our tent. And so the whole tent was just like filled with light. And I looked up and I'm thinking, like, what in the world could that be? Because obviously that's not the moon, right? And all of a sudden it just went boom, gone, went total darkness. And I'm thinking, like, what in the world did I just see? Like, what was that? So of course I'm nudging him and I'm like, hey, wake up. Like, this is what just happened. And he's like, what? Like, what did you see? And I said, did you not see that? And he goes, no, I didn't see that. And so the weird thing was, I remember laying there and thinking like, okay, well, I'm not going to go to sleep again. I'm going to stay up all night and watch this. Right. And I thought this was like, what did I say? Maybe 5 minutes. Okay. So I thought it had been like 5 minutes. And I said, and it happened again, one more time. It happened again. And it went from like this massive bright light, like literally it was like coming from the sky directly above us, filling up the tent. And all of a sudden, just boom, out of nowhere, like the light's gone and it's total darkness. And I remember saying to him, like, oh, poking him, hey, that light just came back. Did you see it? Did you see it? And he goes, no, I was sleeping. And I said, well, what time is it? And he goes, it's 5 a.m. And I was like, 5 a.m.? I'm like, what the heck? Like, I thought it had only been like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So it went from 12:15 to 5 a.m. and I'd been laying there staring at the ceiling the whole time. And I was awake the whole time. So I was like, how's that even possible? How did I go from 12:15 to 5?
Sounds like lost time. Sounds like that. Obviously, we know what that is.
That was crazy.
Do we feel like maybe there was interaction with ET in this instance? Do you think, or you lost time? Obviously.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, but I'd never had that experience before.
Do you think you may have been taken aboard, or?
I have no idea. Like I have no memory of that. I just remember laying there staring at the tent walls and this, the ceiling of the tent. And I never went to sleep. Never. I stayed up the entire night. And I just remember like laying there staring at these walls and I could not sleep for anything. And he was sleeping the entire time. So I don't know. I don't know how to explain it.
I'm going to show these here because this is pictures you guys sent over. This is the daytime shot of that mountain from where they are. And I think you also have the camping. So this is where you were set up right here.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. So yeah, in the meadow. There's no.
Yeah, that gray and orange tent back there. That's what we were laying in. And like I said, out of nowhere, it's just this light, like the brightest light, and it's just filling up the entire tent. And you're like, it's late. How is this possible? Like the moon doesn't do that. It was like as if someone had grabbed the moon and pulled it down and set it on top of the tent. That's how insanely bright it was. And I was just tripping out, like, what just happened?
And she's trying to jab me, and I couldn't stay awake for the life of me. I kept trying and trying and trying to stay awake, and I could not. There was nothing that could, keep me up. I couldn't believe how insanely tired I was. Even with all of this going on, it was like I didn't even care. During that time, I was just like, I have to sleep. It was so strong for me.
Yeah. And I kept saying, like, did you take a sleeping pill or something? Like, what's wrong with you?
No, nothing like that at all.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make any sense at all, especially if she's seeing something that, that I wouldn't be awake for that or, be interested in what's going on during that time.
Yeah.
So what do you think? What do you think? ET for sure. ET ship for sure. The light had to be coming from something.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Well, people have probably heard me on your show before talk about my abduction experiences, and I think that's one of the reasons they like to take me is because I go to sleep so easy, and once I'm asleep, I'm out. There's just no waking me up.
And he was like that the first night we were here, and we were having insane activity at a different location, and I could not get him to stay awake to save my life. And I was just like, wake up, like what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
It was weird.
I can only imagine if this is what you're sharing. I can only imagine what you guys are holding for the show. So
oh my god,
it's insane.
Just wait until I can't even begin to the story of the whole thing is going to take us probably 2 hours to even get it all out. It's just so nuts.
Yeah, we've had activity since we got to our first camping location. I'll tell you that. Just nonstop activity after activity after activity. It hasn't stopped.
No.
It stopped once we left that location and came here. We haven't had the same sort of activity. It's been
not
different.
Like that activity, totally different activity, but still major activity. But it was really weird because even before we got there, I remember saying, like, I feel this intense feeling of us that we're going to have this major activity. And we had trail cams up and we have audio that we haven't even looked at yet. So we don't even know if we have amazing footage to share or not.
Yeah.
Like,
because we haven't gone through it. I mean, to spend the time to do that all day yesterday, we were just driving to get to try to find a new location to be at, because we weren't going to stay another night where we were, because the intensity of the activity that we had there was beyond anything I have ever experienced.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah.
Are you guys are there other campers around? What's the surroundings like?
Where we're at right now, there are no other campers. Where we were the other night, I think there was one probably
Maybe
about
down
half
the
a
way.
mile, half a mile away.
Yeah.
Oh my
So,
god.
Yeah, but not like next to us.
And you hear about a lot of people who go out there for experiences there, Mount Shasta, other places like that. So yeah, I guess those areas may be high in activity just all the time, right? Have you been out there before, Lee?
Out here where I am at Mount Adam, I go
Mhm.
out here a lot, at least once a year, if not twice a year, just for UFO, just looking for UFOs basically, or any kind of activity in the sky. I have never gone out here specifically for Bigfoot stuff. I've had some things happen out here in the past where I've heard howls and that sort of thing. But what we got the other night was just
mind blowing.
Yeah, exactly. That's the way to put it.
It's like there is no other way of putting it. And when you hear it, Rob, you're gonna you're gonna think we're insane or is some made up story, but we're telling you fact on the Bible. I'm telling you, this
Well,
happened to us.
we've got plenty of evidence that we've videoed during the day of things that we've came across. So, I mean, they were there. We knew it when we were there.
Oh yeah.
When we drove in,
we were being watched the entire time. We knew it. We felt it. And then all this crazy stuff happened that we're going to tell you guys about later. But you're just going to be like, whoa. Like, I've never had anything like this in all the years I've been doing Bigfoot stuff. Never.
Sounds like
it was
Jack,
just crazy.
you brought the woo with you. Then that's what it sounds like, Jax. You sounds like you
Yeah.
brought the woo.
the woo is definitely live in here.
Yes,
that's for sure.
it is absolutely here.
Yeah, man. And I so want to know and I so want to see, but I know we have to hold it for next week. So now I'm just going to be waiting, anticipating the show. So you guys are going to be showing this next Friday?
Yeah,
starting next Friday. That's actually that's why we came here originally, was so we could get footage and stories and whatever happened here for the show, because we're going to make like a special intro and we wanted something to share, and we had no idea if we were going to have anything like major to share, or maybe just like, hey, we had a great time camping, you know what I mean? But it has been out of this world, mind-blowing, like an experience like no other, and one that I've never heard of.
Yeah.
So
not all in one trip.
Wow. It's been insane.
How much longer are you guys out there? How long you
Tomorrow we head home.
Yeah, we go home tomorrow. Yeah.
Man, so well, I mean, you guys stay safe out there, obviously. Yeah, and it sounds like you may have already been abducted and implanted potentially. Who knows what happened?
I don't know about implanted. We're hopefully
I don't
not,
know, but I just know it was a second strange night. So who knows what's going to happen tonight? But we don't know. We have no idea.
We put out trail cameras as well to facing the mountain. We put another secondary piece of audio equipment out to capture any audio, and just because we want to know what's going on out here. Hopefully we get a better feel for it tonight than we were able to get the other night.
I actually put the same trail cams out, all of them basically looking towards the tent, hoping that if that does happen again, maybe we'll capture that. So, and they all show video.
Yeah,
it's not just pics; they're all video. So we'll see. I don't know. I mean, I wish I had them up last night. I kind of wish we had them up already, but we were beyond so wiped out by the time we got here. We were just like, let's just chill, get some sleep, and deal with stuff tomorrow. So yeah, freaking out
and
nonstop.
I can only imagine without even getting into the details. I mean, you hear so many stories of, especially out there in the woods, ET craft, potential cryptids, and weird stuff like that. So I can imagine what it is that you guys are about to bring to the table. So it's like built up. You guys, and it's gonna be like, okay, you walk away from this, and it's like, how are you gonna top this if all this stuff just happened?
I don't even know.
I don't even know if we could. I mean, that's how insane it was, Rob. It's one of those things that when you think about it, it's like, what else could possibly happen that would be more insane than what we just went through? Like,
I don't even know.
yeah, it's so insane. Like, it's gonna give you goosebumps and probably bad dreams and creep you out, because I know you were saying you wanted to go with us.
Yeah.
But I don't know, after hearing this story, Rob, I'm not sure anybody will go with us.
You might be right, because I'll be living vicariously through you guys. And obviously with Lee's awesome camera, I mean, you couldn't, as far as visuals, even being there in person, your eyes aren't going to capture it the way that his cameras are capturing it, as you showed how the cameras are showing. It's like almost daytime through the camera, and that's insane. So whatever you do catch, you're catching everything, and that's going to be the awesome part that I can't wait to see. So, okay, well, I don't want to because I don't want to start having to ask you guys to show us some food, because it's just burning me up right now on the inside. Go further with that.
You won't be disappointed, Rob.
No, you will not be disappointed. I don't think anybody will be disappointed when they hear this. The stuff that happened to us all in a short amount of time.
Well, let's just say this. It's one of those events and things that happen that's almost hard to believe.
Yeah, if somebody came and told me all this stuff happened in one location at one night, I would think they were nuts.
Yeah.
There's no way, right?
If we weren't together and it didn't happen to both of us, I mean, identically, at the same time in the whole bit, I don't know if we would even believe each other. It's so crazy.
Yeah.
It'd be like, I don't know about that. But yeah, these things happen to us at the exact same time. And we, we'll share all of that. But I don't even know what else to say without saying it. It's just crazy.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's where we're running right up against that line. So where do you guys go next? Do you have a plan on after this trip? What do you do? Or
well, as far as Jackson and I mean, just the every Friday night thing. Ander and I are going to go up to Mount Baker next weekend, actually, and spend a night up at Mount Baker, filming Mount Baker. So it'll be from one paranormal hotspot to another for me.
Yeah.
But
and then
it's what I live for.
And then Lee will actually be coming down to California in August. So we'll have to figure out what we're going to do there.
Right.
But
so I'll be linking up with you guys then. Yeah. So when you come in August, whatever you guys do, include me, because I'm coming.
Of course we will.
Of course.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Well, here's what I'm gonna do. I don't want to because I'm gonna want to ask you guys, and I know you guys are holding it close to the vest.
We can't tell.
We can't say a whole lot.
So we'll just leave it on a cliffhanger. We'll leave it right there. We'll leave it right there, and I'll just go ahead and do something with the audience here, and let you guys get back to your sky watching.
All right. Sounds good. Well, we'll see you guys soon.
We will.
Have a great night. Can't wait to share what we have.
Okay, Jax and Lee, ladies and gentlemen, you guys have a great rest of your night. Stay safe.
You too.
And can't wait to see what you got.
Thanks for having us on. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Later. Yeah. Okay, guys. Yeah, I wanted to go further, but it's some things that we have to hold for the show. They have an awesome show that they're going to be starting next Friday, and we don't want to spill the beans, right? I think they built it up good enough right now. I think based on what they told us, that's epic in itself, right? Jack's in the tent and seeing the light shining through the tent. You see, and I'll bring the pictures back up because I actually still have those, is they're in the middle of nowhere, right? So let me add that back up here. As you can see, they're in the middle of nowhere in a meadow with Mount Adams in the rear. And I can only imagine. This is why I don't go camping in tents anymore. This is the reason why, because you can't control what happens. And I don't know how much that fabric is going to protect you if something wanted to, intervene or wanted to intermingle with you. So, yeah, it's going to be some great stuff. I can't wait. What I want to do is go ahead and get into some other stuff. We're going to fill in. What do we have? We have like 27 minutes here. I think we could probably do something. I don't know. Tell me in the chat. What do you guys want to do for the last 20 something minutes of this show? You tell me, and then that's what we'll do. Anything in the chat? What do you want to do? Scared yourself, Rob. I'm telling you, I'm going with them when they come down here in August. I'm bringing cameras, and I want to have that experience. I do. I want to be able to come back to you guys and say, I saw X, Y, and Z, because everything else has happened to me. I've shown you, I brought you the receipts. And if there is something to what's going on out there and I experience it, the first thing that I'm going to do is come right back here and show you guys receipts and tell you this happened, right? So we know shadow people are real. I showed you. UFOs are real. I showed you. Orbs are real. I showed you. The healing energy with my pup, I told you about it. I couldn't show you that. But, we're checking off boxes as far as this phenomena goes, is in what is real. Because sometimes stories can only go so far, right? Sometimes you need those receipts. So I'm going to be the one to tell you, as long as I make it back safely. So here's what we'll do. I want to do something special with you guys here. And I know, how so much you guys love trivia. Yeah. So we'll do that. We'll do that to kind of fill in the rest of the hour here. Let me go ahead and get some stuff up for you guys. And just get your fingers ready. Just get your fingers ready. It's been an awesome show today. And it's a Saturday, and I think you guys could kick back and enjoy some fun stuff here. So let me get some things together for you guys. We're going to take a quick break, and then we will be right back with some trivia. See you in just a moment. All right, guys, right in time for some trivia. Spaced Out Radio trivia. We're going to fill in the last 20 minutes of the show. We're going to have a little bit of fun. We're going to see who has the knowledge. Who has the knowledge? Who's going to take it home tonight? I see Tamothman came in at the buzzer. So Tamothman plans to ruin your night, guys. So we're not going to allow him to do that, right? We're going to go ahead and make sure that you guys are quick with the fingers and go ahead and get these answers here. So we're going to jump into some cryptid questions here. We're going to go mostly cryptid right now, and we'll see what happens. All right, so we're going to jump into it. Question number 1. Get ready. Here we go. What is the name of the mythical creature said to inhabit the Himalayan mountains, particularly in Tibet and Nepal? What is the name of the mythical creature said to inhabit the Himalayan mountains, particularly in Tibet or Nepal? It looks like Joe Monk got the answer. It is a Yeti. It's Yeti or abominable snowman, if I said it right. So Joe Monk, congratulations, you got that one right. Joe Monk, 1 down. Here we go. In Scottish folklore, what aquatic creature is said to inhabit Loch Ness and is often the subject of alleged sightings? In Scottish folklore, what aquatic creature is said to inhabit Loch Ness and is often the subject of alleged sightings? Yeah, I can't give you that, Van Gogh. It's a Loch Ness monster. Come on, Van Gogh. Joe Monk gets it. Joe Monk, two in already. And yes, Van Gogh, I am checking the YouTube answers, of course. Of course. All right, next question here. Yeah, it could have been Nessie or Loch Ness Monster, either one. Okay. Which North American cryptid is often described as a hairy, ape-like creature and said to inhabit remote forests, particularly in the Pacific Northwest, where Jax and Lee happen to be right now? All right, looks like Van Gogh got this one here. That is Sassy Sasquatch. And don't call it squatching. Don't call it squatching. Good job, Van Gogh. Let's go ahead and go to the next one here. All right. In Australian Aboriginal mythology, what cryptid is described as a large, long-necked water creature? In Australian Aboriginal mythology, what cryptid is described as a large, long-necked water creature? The long-necked water creature. Australian Aboriginal mythology. No one, huh? Definitely not Nicole Kidman, Philip Blair. Funny, but not Nicole Kidman. Come on. I know you guys got it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's a bunyip. Bunyip. It's a bunyip. Bunyip. Yeah, too late, Van Gogh. Nice try, though. Next question. What legendary creature, often depicted as a serpentine sea monster, is said to inhabit Scandinavian waters? What legendary creature, often depicted as a serpentine sea monster, is said to inhabit Scandinavian waters? Unleash the Kraken. That is right. Looks like Van Gogh got Kraken. Van Gogh got Kraken. That's what it is. And congratulations on that. Van Gogh, okay. I see what you're doing here. I see you. Okay. According to Native American folklore, what mythical creature is often considered a shape-shifting trickster and is associated with the Southwest tribes? According to Native American folklore, what mythical creature is often considered a shape-shifting trickster and is associated with the Southwest tribes? Yes, it looks like we got Lex Diaz coming in with the Skinwalker. It is definitely the Skinwalker. Definitely the Skinwalker. Good job, Lex Diaz. Okay, let's see. I don't know that you guys will get this one, but if you do, I would be shocked. In Central and South American folklore, what cryptid is described as a large flying serpent and is associated with Mayan and Aztec mythology? In Central and South American folklore, what cryptid is described as a large flying serpent and is associated with Mayan and Aztec mythology? Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, you didn't spell it right, Joe Monk, so I got to give it to Kira. I am a Quetzalcoatl. Okay, I guess that's what it is. And she spelled it right and everything. So congratulations, Kira. on that one. Awesome. Joe didn't spell it right. Aloha. Got to Quetzalotl. I don't know what that is. It's wrong. Yeah, so I repeat the question twice, and the first person to I try to read it as quickly as possible because, you know, it kind of gives it away sometimes. But yeah, I mean, this isn't, you know, just answer the questions and the winner wins. But you all win with knowledge, right? So at the end of the day, you all win because you gain knowledge. All right, so here we go. What cryptid, often portrayed as a large winged creature resembling a bat or pterosaur, is reported in the skies of Point Pleasant, West Virginia? What cryptid, often portrayed as a large winged creature resembling a bat or a pterosaur, is reported in the skies of Point Pleasant, West Virginia? Because I can't spell it and Rob can't say it. You're right. It is a Mothman, Joe Monk. Joe Monk got it. It is a Mothman. In the YouTube chat, it shows he got it first. It's Mothman. All right. Okay. Yeah, this might be a hard one too. In African folklore, what cryptid is said to be a water-dwelling creature resembling a horse or fish and is often considered a protective spirit? In African folklore, what cryptid is said to be a water-dwelling creature resembling a horse or a fish and is often considered a protective spirit? Oh, look at that. Lex Diaz came to play. Okay. Lex Diaz came to play. I'm gonna try to pronounce that. Yeah, I'm gonna try. It's a Mokele Bembe. Mokele Bembe. I think that might be right. Congratulations, Lex Diaz, on that one. That was a tough one. See, you guys learned something there. I know a lot of people didn't know that answer. Now you just learned. Mokele Membe. What is the name of the cryptid reported in the folklore of New Jersey, often described as a horse-headed creature with bat-like wings? What is the name of the cryptid reported in the folklore of New Jersey, often described as a horse-headed creature with bat-like wings? Yes, looks like Jennifer got it. That is the New Jersey Devil. New Jersey Devil. Good job, Jennifer. All right, next one. Okay, we're going to get into some Japanese folklore. In Japanese folklore, what supernatural creature is often depicted as a long, slender sea serpent with a horse-like head? In Japanese folklore, what supernatural creature is often depicted as a long, slender sea serpent with a horse-like head? Amy WC's X. Got it. LOL. Godzilla. It's not Godzilla. Not Godzilla. It's Umibozo. Umibozo. U-M-I, B as in boy, O, Z as in zebra, U. Umibozo. Just so you know. What cryptid is said to inhabit the swamps and bayous of Louisiana and is often described as a humanoid creature with the features of a reptile? What cryptid is said to inhabit the swamps and bayous of Louisiana and is often described as a humanoid creature with features of a reptile? Louisiana in particular. What cryptid is said to inhabit the swamps and bayous of Louisiana and is often described as a humanoid creature with features of a reptile? I'll give you 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, there you go at the buzzer, Joe Monk. Rougarou. The Rougarou. Rougarou. So maybe you didn't know that. Well, you know it now. It is a Rougarou. Put that in your mental database. It's all about learning, right? You can win, but it's all about retaining this information. So good job, Joe Monk. It is a Rougarou. In Himalayan folklore, what cryptid is believed to be a giant ape-like creature and is often considered a relative of the Yeti? In Himalayan folklore, what cryptid is believed to be a giant ape-like creature and is often considered to be a relative of the Yeti? So it's not a Yeti, because it's a relative of the Yeti. It's not abominable snowman, because that's the same thing as a Yeti. It's considered to be a relative of the Yeti or abominable snowman. Nope. Yeti and abominable snowman are technically the same thing. It's a relative of those. And I don't see the right answer. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It is a Mande Barung. Mande B as in boy, ARUNG. Mande Barung. Just so you know. All right. According to Native American mythology, what cryptid is often described as a large, hairy, and man-like creature that dwells in the wilderness? According to Native American mythology, what cryptid is often described as a large, hairy, and man-like creature that dwells in the wilderness? Someone said it earlier. It's not a Sasquatch. Could be Dave Scott, but it's not. Starts with the W. You're not supposed to say his name. All right, and Joanne got it. It's a Wendigo. Supposedly you're not supposed to say his name. For whatever reason, I don't know. But Joanne got it right. Wendigo. Okay. What is the name of the cryptid in Indonesian mythology that is believed to inhabit the dense forest resembling a small humanoid creature? What is the name of the cryptid in Indonesian mythology that is believed to inhabit the dense forest resembling a small humanoid creature? Indonesian mythology, believed to inhabit dense forests resembling a small humanoid creature. Kevin Hart. Not Kevin Hart. He is a small creature, but it's not Kevin Hart. Wee Man. It's not Wee. Yeah, these ones are tricky, Mike Botwell. Yes. But you guys are learning, right? So this, I'll give it to you because it doesn't say. So it's an orang pendek. Orang pendek. O-R-A-N-G. P is in Paul. E-N is in Nancy. D is in David. E-K. Orang pendek. Orang pendek. In Chilean mythology, what cryptid is said to be a large flying creature resembling a pterosaur and is known to terrorize livestock? In Chilean mythology, what cryptid is said to be a large flying creature resembling a pterosaur and is known to terrorize livestock? Chilean mythology, what cryptid is said to be a large flying creature resembling a pterosaur and is known to terrorize livestock? There we go. There we go. Jennifer got it. It's chupacabra. That's what it says. It says El Chupacabra. What it says. Jennifer got it right. All right. All right. Let's do one more here. Let's do one more, and we're gonna actually take it out of. This is gonna be an off base one. This is gonna be. Who is the author of the Harry Potter series? Who is the author of the Harry Potter series? Who is the author of the Harry Potter series? Who is the author of the Harry Potter series? Harry Potter. Who is the author of Harry Potter? All right, I'll give it to you. J.K. Rowling, and that'll be it. All right, let's go ahead and tally up these votes. Let's go ahead and tally them up here. I think it's pretty close, actually. If I had to guess, it's pretty close. So let's take a look here. We remove those. Okay, so it looks like Joe Monk has 1, 2, 3, 4. Joe Monk has 4. Van Gold has 1, 2. Okay, 2. Lex Diaz has 1. Let's see, 1, 2. Kira has 1. Jennifer has 1, 2. And Joanne has 1. And Mike Bothwell has 1. So it looks like the winner is none other than Joe Monk. Joe Monk, congratulations. You win trivia for tonight. Impromptu trivia. And here's the thing. I'll say this. We won't be doing trivia for too much longer. Is once we get the radio stuff down and set up, trivia might be a thing of the past. So what we might end up doing is once the radio situation is set up, once the radio show ends, then we may do like overtime and go past 11 Pacific and do some trivia just as an additional bonus. So I'm thinking of that in a way to keep it in the mix. But once we have the radio show, it's going to be a lot of structure there that won't allow for it during the regular show. So with that being said, Joe Monk, congratulations on the trivia tonight. Also, definitely just want to thank the guest for tonight, Lily Nova Starseed, as she actually came in and gave us some great data. And also Jax and Lee coming live from Mount Adams out in Washington, experienced some really creepy stuff, right? So with that being said, let me go ahead and thank our super chatters for the night. We had Dogface coming in. Thanks for your support. We had Reverend Cosmic Joe Chronicles. Thank you for your support. We had Aloha Dave. Thank you so much for your support. And we had Susan Kano. Thank you so much for your support. Love for this wonderful channel. We do love you right on back, Susan Kano. So we do appreciate you. And I just want to say to all the space travelers out there, you guys are already space travelers, consider taking the next step and join the club. That's right. You can join a Spaced Out Radio Space Travelers Club for as little as $5 buckaroonies a month by joining our Patreon. To all our viewers and our listeners across the globe, thanks for tuning your frequency to Spaced Out Radio, where we do what we do best. And what's that, you ask? We own the night. Want to thank you for coming on in. Tomorrow night we have
Conversations
Victor
that move the needle.
Vigiani. Make sure you're here for that.
You're listening to After Hours with Mr. Rob G on the only place where you can own the night. Spaced Out Radio.
Spaced Out Radio.
You've tuned your dial to the right frequency.
Hey everyone, guess what? We do not have ugly swag. We have Spaced Out Radio gear that you're going to want to wear. Why? Because no one wants to wear ugly clothing. So head on over to spacedoutradio.com and go shopping today. You'll be glad you did. And it's a great way to support our show. Once you get your gear, send us a picture of you rocking out in your SOR swag. spacedoutradio.com, shop there today, and make yourself look good.